Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, coming again today, you're very, very welcome. I trust you enjoyed my last video on the gritty and uniqueness of Joe Cocker. Such iconic songs as Unchain My Heart and You Can Leave Your Hat On. It was good to look at his career. We're going from there to David Jackson, who was born in 1954 in Staffordshire in the UK. David did learn violin, but didn't really like violin that much. He ended up learning the piano, which would be the instrument that he would perform with on stage. At the age of 16, only 16 years old, he became part of the Royal Academy of Music, studying music there. It was after that, it was in a couple of bands, Edward Bear, interesting name for a band, and Arms and Legs. It was around the age of 20 that David thought, oh, David Jackson's not really working. I'm going to call myself Joe Jackson instead. And so that well and truly has been his stage name ever since. In 1978, he was signed to A&M Records, and his opening album in 1979 was Look Sharp. This is the one that's got the white shoes on the cover. Is She Really Going Out With Him? Absolutely an incredible song for this guy. Joe Jackson's just got this, I don't know, very insightful way of writing songs, first of all. But secondly, he's just very mellow, but there's something great about his melodies and the way that he writes. And is she really going out with him? My ass can't believe it. There's something going on around here. It's almost like, oh man, she's with him now. That's different. So I've got a studio version of that one. In 1979, I'm the Man, and we got It's Different for the Girls. This was a pretty big song for Joe Jackson, got to number 5, and we've got a live clip of that one. 1980, so we're getting around the late 1970s into the 1980s. We've got Beat Crazy. And then in 1982, the iconic Night and Day album came out. This is probably the album I first heard Joe Jackson with. We've got 3 songs off that album. We've got a live version of Breaking Us in Two. We've got a live version of Real Man. Now, this song was pretty big in Australia, and it's all about diversity, absolutely. And we've also got an official and live version of Stepping Out. Now, Stepping Out, what do we think about when we think about stepping out? Well, we think about, hey, I'm going out for the night, so I put on some nice clothes and I'm stepping out. But it could also mean, if we take it a step further, and that is, hey, we're in a bit of a rut in our life, or we might be looking for something new. And of course, for any great adventure and any new thing, it always starts with a single step, doesn't it? It's just a little step, right? But, you know, there's so much thinking and emotional investment in taking that first step, isn't there? It's almost like, what if it doesn't work? What if they don't like me? What if it all just crumbles around me? What about if I'm leaving behind perhaps security now and going into the unknown? Well, we don't know everything now, do we? Nor should we. I think we've always got to think, well, if I am going to step out into the unknown, I'm going to do it, right? I can't have a foot in both camps, like leaving one foot where I was and moving one foot forward. If we're going to step out, take that single step, well, our other foot has to follow at some point, don't we? Otherwise, we're stuck in no man's land, and we don't want that one, do we? You can almost imagine, like, if you had really, really long legs, as an example, and you're walking across a main road, in the middle of the road, you take a single step, there's no cars coming, of course, at that point. You take a single step, but your other foot is still on the medium strip. It's not going to take long before you get run over. And I think this is what can happen. We may not get run over practically, but certainly get run over philosophically, and that is an opportunity might pass us by that we might have grabbed if we had taken both steps. But, you know, let's acknowledge, first of all, the journey and how scary it is sometimes to take a step. You know, we don't know where the step's going to lead us. And we think, right, well, I've got to do something now. I'm just kind of compelled to do something. I don't know where it's leading. I suppose this is where faith comes into the picture. You know, faith is a belief in something that is unseen. Now, if you think that thing unseen is like a new job or a new place or whatever it is, well, we owe it to ourselves to explore it, don't we? And, a cautious person would say, okay, well, I'll explore, but I'll also keep where I am going. But certainly if, you explore and you do find the thing that you want, well, your steps have to follow that, don't they? In our minds, we can't stay where we are because our brain needs to embrace something new. And in order to do that, it needs to forget about the old. And our old, let's face it, can be filled with all sorts of baggages and all sorts of things that we may not necessarily want to remember. Now, I've always argued in the past that we don't ever forget things, we walk forward with things. We've always got to learn from the things that we need to learn from. But I think stepping out implies stepping into the new. And I think we owe it to ourselves every now and then to do this. So how great for Joe Jackson to come out with this song. So official and live version. Now the live version is a little bit later. He talks about the drum machine that was used, and that one's still there. And he talked about the iconic bass line. Of course, a bass guitar did that then, but of course you can sequence it now. So I've got official and live version of Steppin Out. In 1984, Body and Soul, and this is another song I remember from Joe Jackson's Happy Ending. This is with Elaine, Caswell. We've got a live version of that one, and one of the things that Joe Jackson also can do is play the saxophone really well, and I think this particular song typifies that skill really, really well. This guy's an all-rounder, master songwriter, pretty amazing singer, very, very good piano player, great saxophone player, and a pretty cool front man as well. So Joe Jackson ticks all of the boxes. He's had quite a career. He's actually collaborated with some people, including Joan Armatrading and Susan Vega as well. And between 1979 and 2023, that's a very, very long career, actually. Let's try and work that out. That's like 44-year career. 18 studio albums, 8 live albums, 16 compilation albums, 7 video albums, 58 singles. It's quite a lot of singles, estimated to have sold 2.4 million albums. So in the scheme of things, pretty successful, and well and truly collaborated to this legacy of music. So it's great to give Joe Jackson a bit of a go today. So the links to those 7 clips are in the description below, and I've also included my last video from Joe Cocker. So if you want to recap on him, feel free. Well, if you come back for another one, or this is your first time to Life Reflections Through Music, how great to see everybody here. Well, I'm going to go on to another Joe next time, Joe Satriani, sort of iconic guitar player. So I'm going to go on to him next time, which I think will round out the Joes until I think of somebody else. That's the way it sort of goes. So until then, thanks for coming. Catch you around.